Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Reach out to me for pricing. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a model launched in 2004 with a new generation of Jaeger-LeCoultre automatic movement. This is the JLC Master Hometime. 40 millimeters in diameter in rose gold. The watch measures 47.9 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, 11.3 millimeters thick, and it has a nice standard 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, it wears nicely. I could even wear it on a slightly smaller wrist than mine. You can see down the barrel, the lugs are not near the edge of my wrist. The cuff shot, proving it would slide easily under a dress cuff. And then over the top, which tends to exaggerate the width of the watch, you can still see that I've got some clearance on both sides. So I think you could wear this watch on a 15 centimeter circumference wrist. The strap includes large, medium, and small rectangular scale alligator leather. It's a medium brown. It's got a very narrow shear cut edge. There's a monotone stitch, calfskin on the bottom, a brand new JLC factory strap with no crimping, no gouging. And it's connected to Jaeger-LeCoultre's second generation folding clasp, the one that has a media blasted channel down the center, polish and media blasted. You can see the JLC maker's mark inside the buckle. And you can also see it on the case. JLC, a fully integrated manufacturer, making all of the important parts of the watch, with the occasional exception of dials. Now, you can see the watch actually has two notable parts that are not made by JLC. The strap, which comes from Camille Fournet in Paris, and then the hairspring, which actually comes from its Richemont sister company, A Lange+Söhne. The case is simple and distinctive. It's well known to fans of JLC who remember the 2000s and the 2010s. So we've got this sort of sheer case flank, broad flanks when you view the lugs in profile, but they're narrow when you view them head on. We have a JL logo on the crown. We have a conical bezel that's stepped in slightly from the case band to thin out the watch visually, and then blended lug profiles with a very subtle soft bevel on the edge of the lugs. The timepiece features a dial that is silver sunburst. We have little indices outboard for reading the minutes. We have a crosshair small seconds that's sunken in, countersunk with a concentric pattern, and a counterweighted blued alpha hand. We have alpha style hands for the hours and the minutes, an elegant alternative to Dauphine that I happen to love. You can see that they're half frosted to provide better contrast against this dial base. We have dart style applique indices. We also have tri-Arabic numerals. And you can see the watch actually has quite good luminescence. It's easy to read in the dark, all 12 hours loomed. We have two time zones. They're both in 12-hour formats. So as you adjust the time, you can see that if you don't need that second time zone, it stays cloaked under the superimposed local hour hand to keep the dial clean. But when you need that second time zone, you've got the ability, let me just get into that mode, you've got the ability now to set the local time independently. And note that as I am setting the local time, I can jump the date forward and backwards as I travel across the international date line. I'm not stopping the movement. You can see it's still ticking. I'm not displacing the minute hand, and I'm not altering that reference time zone. So I can travel and not lose my other bearings. Now, of course, if I do pull the crown out all the way, I activate hacking seconds. That stops the seconds hand. Now you can synchronize to a reference time. You could see that the day and night, jour et nuit en français, they let us know whether that reference time, the travel time, the place where we are not, whether it's day or night. So you can see here that this little sun, I'll further demonstrate, this little sun is now overlapping the semicircle, which means we're looking at 9 a.m. in this time zone, the reference time zone. Flipping it all over, I promised you a new generation of JLC movement, you get it. This is what's known as the 975H Auto Tractor. So partly from the experience of IWC using JLC dress watch movements in sports watches during the 90s, JLC realized that its movements were fine and thin, had plenty of torque to drive complications, and even be chronometer certified, but they were not particularly shock resistant, and this auto tractor was the result of that lesson learned. Robust, built to take a hit with a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. It's got a 4 hertz beat rate, 29 pivot joules. It is a 48-hour power reserve. It has unidirectional winding with ceramic bearings for high efficiency. And you can see back then, they gave you a 22-karat mass on the rotor, not 21-karat, not 18-karat, not rose gold-plated tungsten. It's a sizable movement. It's not huge, but it is big enough. You can see that it does fairly well fill this case back. The 975 has a lot of positive qualities to it. It's everything you liked about the older 889, but with toughness, and a little bit more power reserve at 48 hours compared to typically 38 to 40 on an 889. There's a medley of hand finishing and machine finishing here, roughly equivalent to what you'd get on a Zenith, a Glasuta Original, or even an Audemars Piguet series production watch. There's a lot to love. All this 50 meters water resistant. It's been through the Master 1000 hours control, so 50 is actually quite a bit for a dress watch. You could see Master 1000 hours. It started in 1992. It was one of the first in-house standards to go far beyond the minima of the COSC chronometer test, which was a 5-position bare movement test. This is 6 positions as a fully assembled watch, and COSC is about 2 weeks. This is over 40 days. It's a test of winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, overall durability, and yes, timekeeping precision. And typically, mainstream Master Series watches are held to a tolerance of no worse than -1 plus 6 seconds per day. So a little bit better than chronometer standard, which would allow -4 per day. There's solarization on the ratchet wheel. There's circular Côte de Genève across bridges. We have both polished and fire-blued screws. There's a media blast on the base plate. It's a good-looking movement overall that nicely fills this medium-sized case back. So lots to love here, a very practical and discontinued watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.